Thanks very much. Alongside Toronto Blue Jays reporter Keegan Matheson of MLB.com and the host of OverDrive on TSN 1050, Bryan Hayes. And guys, we're not going to candy coat this. An extra innings loss in Game 7 of the World Series, absolutely crushing for the Toronto Blue Jays. And you consider when they came back from LA up 3-2, it really felt like they might win this thing. And then they lost Game 6, but in Game 7, they scored those 3 runs, and it felt like, wow, the Toronto Blue Jays might really win the World Series. And there were multiple times in this game where it feels like both the team and their fans believed that this was going to happen. Is it even more crushing considering how close this team came to winning it all?
10-0's a lot easier. You go back through this game, even Jen, when you go back to that 18-inning game in LA, over and over and over. I think John Schneider said that those bases loaded at-bats are going to be in his mind for a long time. There's certain moments that are hard to wipe. There are certain plays where an inch away, a foot off the bag, that defensive play in center field by Baez. What an incredible game by the Dodgers. What an incredible game, though, by the Blue Jays. That's why this is crushing. That's why this is going to be hard to shake.
Absolutely. It's the most, crushing way you could possibly lose a World Series, a Super Bowl, a Stanley Cup, a big fight. It doesn't matter. I mean, this isn't just about baseball. This is about sports. Like, this is the biggest platform you can find under the brightest lights. And like you said, Jen, the Jays came home with 2 cracks at it. They were up 3-2. It's not only about tonight that's going to make this so difficult to overcome. It's that they had chances in Game 6. And the bottom of the 9th in Game 6, they'll never forget it. The bottom of the 9th tonight into extra innings. And we're going to be asked about this. Everyone's going to be reflecting on this for a long, long time. The truth is, you'll never get over it. Doesn't mean you won't love this team forever. Doesn't mean this team shouldn't be incredibly proud of themselves. They should be. But there's no getting over this. It's as crushing as it gets. Only one team can win, and the Dodgers won tonight.
And so many missed opportunities from the Toronto Blue Jays. They came out to that 3-0 lead in this one on the Bo Bichette home run. As great as that was, you knew that 3 runs was not going to be enough to win this game against the LA Dodgers. They needed to stack up runs. The Blue Jays left 14 base runners on in this game. Keegan, did the Jays in some ways beat themselves?
They did. They had every opportunity to do this, and we should be talking about Bo Bichette's home run as an all-time moment in franchise history. Career-defining for Bo Bichette, like it was teed up to be, but they couldn't do anything else. They couldn't get that big hit in that big moment. And Jen, post-game yesterday, we talked about the optimistic thing being you don't have to face Yamamoto again. There he is, an all-time World Series performance. Stifled them at the end, but the Blue Jays did not cash in. They're going to be thinking about those runners left on, those stranded base runners for a long, long time.
Yep, that's true, and you're right about Yamamoto. We were laughing. Everything was so funny last night that there he goes. He couldn't possibly come in and pitch again, and that's what this World Series really was about. Yoshi Yamamoto put on a performance for the ages, and he got the Jays 3 times in their building. 3 times in their building, which is truly incredible. But I think you can look at it from both sides, which is what it makes this so crushing. Offensively, yes, the Jays had so many opportunities to pounce, but also the arms, right? Trey Savage came in. He gave up that Max Muncy home run. I know we're going to remember the Hoffman, Rojas home run. I know we're going to remember Bieber on Will Smith in extra innings that ultimately won the World Series for the Dodgers. But Savage as well gave up a big solo home run, and that was the overarching story of the whole season. The bullpen. Can the bullpen tighten up when you really need it to? It did in September. It did for the majority of October. And yes, 2 of those 3 guys are starters in Savage and Bieber. But solo shot, solo shot, solo shot. Dodgers win the World Series.
It's heartbreaking stuff in the clubhouse after this game. Tears, guys hugging. I mean, they truly love each other in that clubhouse. And this country fell in love with this 2025 Blue Jays team. They are scrappy. They're underdogs. They're everything that Canadians love in a sports team. I remember Kevin Gossman referring to them affectionately as a bunch of baseball rats. They're just a bunch of guys who love to play baseball and love to be around each other. How should this team be remembered, Keegan?
Yeah, that was a tough clubhouse. I'm always going to remember being in that clubhouse there 20 minutes ago and Ernie Clement fighting through tears, Chris Bassett fighting through tears, who we do not usually see emotional, saying that they're going to miss this team. They're going to miss being together. And you could tell that everyone in that clubhouse just wanted to stay for an extra hour. They wanted to have one more beer with their friends.
One more game of cards.
And it was incredible to be around that connection. This is a team worthy of love. This is a team worthy of remembering and worthy of affection. But because of how much people loved them, that's why it's heartbreaking. There have been teams that have flamed out of the playoffs here over the last 10 years that we just kind of forget because they didn't have that connection with people. They did not bring people together across Canada like this team. That's why this one hurts.
Yeah, and everyone contributed. I think that's what needs to be remembered. From the top down, everyone factored in. Obviously, the superstars were great, but there were also the unsung heroes. So many of them we could sit here and talk about, guys like Ernie Clement and Nathan Lucas and Addison Barger and Eric Lauer and different bullpen arms. John Schneider, right? Coming of age for John Schneider, right? He's a manager that went all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. The front office, the much maligned front office this time last year, complete 180 in terms of what the pieces that they put together, and now how Blue Jays fans have optimism into the future. And listen, you're not asking me to rank this team, but ultimately, based on wins and losses, the third greatest team in Blue Jay history, right? The 92 and 93 teams, they won. We kept comparing them to the 15 and 16 teams. We passed that 2 weeks ago. Right, 7 games ago, this team blew past the 15 and 16 teams. So these guys will be revered forever. They'll be throwing out ceremonial first pitches for a long, long time. But unlike the 92 and 93 teams, the banner's not going up.
And who's coming back? Right now we look ahead to next year, and we know that Bo Bichette is a free agent. Max Scherzer was on a 1-year deal. Chris Bassett is a free agent as well. This was unexpected success this season with this team. Now the question is, Keegan, can they repeat it? Is this team built to have this kind of success next season?
I think this organization is. The team might just look a heck of a lot different next year, and that's the tough part. How do you recreate this magic? Bo Bichette is a free agent, and he says he's always wanted to come back, but money matters.
Yeah.
The sentimental part I know is nice. The money has to match up. Chris Bassett, you look at Max Scherzer as a free agent. He says he's not done either. You're going to need to nail all of these moves, but the Blue Jays have their manager. They have their franchise manager now. They have money. They're spending with the big boys, and I think when you watch this as a free agent, you're saying, get me to Toronto. Get me to play with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., one of the best players on the planet, who's got 14 years left now. That deal hasn't started yet. They have everything in place. They need to nail it, but the foundation's there.
Yeah, you're right. And that deal that Vladdy signed, it would be a lot more money if he hadn't signed before the season started. That's the truth. But you're right. What this run ultimately does is it gives you a sales pitch that the Blue Jays have not had in a long time. It gives Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro a sales pitch. They have to figure out what's going to happen with Bo Bichette. That's what every Blue Jay fan is going to want to know. Everyone loves Bo. He and Vladdy came up together. They've been the two faces of this team for a decade. What happens with Bichette? If he leaves, how do you allocate the money? But I have no doubt that the money will be there, right? They have spent money. This ownership has committed to spending money. After this run, they're going to continue to do that. It's about landing big fish, but also continuing to grow, right? This year really changed when you realized they had a farm system that no one gave them credit for. No one knew Barger was coming. No one knew what Clement was going to be this year. No one thought Trey Savage would pitch the way that he pitched in September into October, including into November. So they have a framework here that's a very, very good team, but it's a different mentality now. Right? Now you're not the plucky underdogs that no one saw coming. You won the American League East, and you represented the American League in the World Series. Everyone's chasing you next year.
It was a hell of a run, guys. A hell of a run, and the country fell in love with this team, but ultimately the Toronto Blue Jays fall just short of winning a World Series. As for the LA Dodgers, they go back-to-back, the first repeat champions in Major League Baseball since the New York Yankees won 3 in a row from '98 to 2000.